Good evening, Shaker Heights Global Studies students. It's Mr. Fleming. This is the fourth time I'm doing this video. I've been having some technical issues this evening, and I made some mistakes. So let's see if we can do it right this time. Okay. So we are looking at Karl Marx's classless society. We are looking basically at like communism, socialism, capitalism, the differences between those three systems. Of how we allocate resources, because that's why we have economies, right? Like, who gets the extra electricity, who gets to have the water, all that good stuff. And capitalism is the way we is one method, right? And we're going to look at communism and socialism, which are two other methods for distributing, allocating resources. All right, so our directions for this document says look at the following documents and choose 4 to analyze. You are lucky, you get to do 4 of them. I have to do all 6. Second one says must do, determine if the author or the artist is supportive of communism, socialism, or capitalism. So which side of the fence do they fall on? And my third one is must do is support your claim with evidence. What from the document shows the author's support? In your own words, no copying and pasting. Okay. And then 4 should do, how would the opposing side respond to this document? Like, if it was pro-capitalism, what would someone who was pro-communism say about it? Okay. All right. And then your aspire to do is make 1 to 2 annotations on each document using the comment feature. And you all know how to do that. You've been doing it all year. So I think you should all do the aspire to do's, but that's just me. Anyway. All right. So 6, need help? I don't know. We'll see. That's what I'm here for. All right. Document 1, the pyramid of capitalist systems. So man, just from the name of it, I'm thinking might be good for capitalism. Let's see. All right, so this is kind of shaped like a pyramid. Yeah, I see that. And at the very tippy top, we have capitalism. We have money. Okay, that's definitely what runs the capitalist system, right? Everybody wants to make money. Let's see what the next level is. We rule you, right? So that would be like governments, kings, prime ministers, presidents. All dudes in this picture, which is also another thing we could talk about another day. Anyway, the next one is we fool you. That's religion. I hate to, I hopefully don't offend anyone, but that this artist definitely thinks that the religion is fooling you, right? Like, opiate of the masses, that kind of thing. If you're thinking about that, you're not thinking about what's happening to you here. So that's one other level of the pyramid. And then you have the military, right? Which would be a tool of the state. State being the government. And then we have these folks down here towards the bottom. We eat for you, right? They look well-to-do. Oh, this guy's must be sleepy. I don't know. Or he had too many of these root beers. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, this is like decadence, right? Craziness, having fun. Just party, 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 party. Like people that like have 6 yachts and stuff like that, right? Okay, so that's those folks, right? They're happy, and then there are all these folks down here. They're very like the whole weight of this whole pyramid is coming down on them, right? And it looks like we've got workers. This guy's got a little banner. I bet he's like, promoting something. I'm gonna probably unions, but I don't know that yet. And then, this guy looks like he's got an apron on, so he's probably like working like hard workers, factory workers, things of that nature. Some children in there. And I think what this artist is trying to say is this whole system, capitalist system, relies upon this labor, this exploited class. As you were, okay? And I think that's what this artist is trying to say. So let's go back and let's see what we do. We go, boom. Oh, man, I made a little check mark. That's really cool. Miss Ersic is the coolest. If you have Miss Ersic, so lucky. All right, so we got capitalism there. Oh no, that's not what they do. No, I don't think they do. I think, well, it doesn't really say that they support socialism, but they don't really support capitalism, I don't think. So, okay. Provide evidence from the text, images, and explanations to support your claim. And I believe it said it had to be in my own words. So I'm going to say, the thing I said, look at that. That was sexist. I was about ready to say he, and I didn't even know if it was a him. The artist portrays the artist portrays the. Okay, yeah, I had to pause it because I realized if I keep typing, this video is going to be like 8 hours long. So I came up with document 1. The artist portrays the system of capitalism as resting on the workers. They're being exploited and not getting their share. Obviously, if they're doing all the work and running, like making this whole system go, why are they being crushed? And why do they have like skimpy clothes on, not the nice stuff? And why aren't they passed out of the table, right? Okay, anyway, well, they probably are. They're just tired. Okay, so what evidence? I said the artist portrays a system resting on. Okay, just answer that. Should do. How would someone from the opposing viewpoint respond to this document? They say this is propaganda, and it only shows the negatives of the system. There's mobility in capitalism. There's efficiency. It doesn't talk about, like, when you have competition, it's good because competition will keep prices down, which is good for you and me as a consumer. Also, it drives innovation, right? If UPS wants to make more money, then what's that other folks that drive around, the DHS or whoever else it is, right? If they want to make more money than them, they have to come up with a better way or a cheaper way of doing business, right? Okay. Sometimes they don't, though. Sometimes they just pay their workers less. So that's also there, too. All right. I'm not going to do Aspires to do until the end. All right. So, document 2, writings from Marx and Engels. Oh, my goodness. Who are these? These are important people. All right. So, Karl Marx and Frederick Engels, I believe. Yeah, Frederick. All right. It's from the Communist Manifesto. All right. The modern bourgeois, the middle class society, has not done away with class antagonisms, hatred between groups of people. It has but established new forms of struggle in place of the old ones. Modern industry has converted the little workshop of the patriarchal master into the great factory of the industrialist capitalist. Masses of laborers crowded into the factory are organized like soldiers. They are slaves of the machine and the manufacturer. Instead of rising as industry progresses, they sink deeper and deeper into poverty. Owing to the use of machinery into the division of labor, the work of the proletariat, the worker class, has lost all individual character and consequently all charm for the workman. He becomes a limb of the machine, and it is only the most simple, most monotonous, boring, and most easily acquired knack, skill, or ability that is required of him. Okay, so this is an excerpt from the Principles of Communism by Frederick Engels. Above all, the government will have to take control of industry and of all the branches of production out of the hands of competing individuals, and instead institute a system as a whole that is for the common account, according to a common plan, and with the participation of all members of society. It will abolish or eliminate competition. Private property must therefore be abolished. Okay, so what was he saying here? Let's see. Okay, so Fredericks and Engels. I'm going to provide the proof for you here. Let's see what I wrote. I paused it again, so I can't remember the cut. Mrs. Fleming came and bothered me. It took too long to get back to it. So sorry if there's a weird cut there. But I said, basically, he is saying things have not gotten any better under this capitalism, under this factory system, right? He's like, as a matter of fact, it's gotten worse. At least when you were like, working like maybe in a cottage industry in the house, something working on your little thing you were making, at least you had a skill. At least it was cool. Like, at the end of the day, I could say, hey, I make such and such, right? I'm cool. I have a skill. In a factory, what can you say? I push button 20 times every day. Boom, boom. Right? I mean, there's no skill involved. So at the end of the day, you don't have anything to be proud of. You don't have a part of the business. I mean, you're just going there to work, right? Okay. So I think that's probably you would say that it's very impersonal, right? We're just cogs in a wheel, right? Okay. And then what was my should do? I had them supporting socialism, obviously, since they're like the father of communism. No. The should do was like, what would someone who opposes it say? I think someone who opposes it would say, how would those workers survive if not for the job that the factory provides? Those workers are very lucky to have had someone build that factory, provide a job, a steady job, if they show up for work and can do their job, right? Okay, that's what they might say. And then I think personally what they might say to Mr. Engels is, like, all members of society? Really? You think all members of society are going to participate? Okay, sure. You don't think there's going to be like a small group that's going to be like the leaders? I mean, look around the world now with socialist or communist countries, right? I don't know. Like the regular villagers, just not like, I'm thinking of China maybe. They're not participating in the government. So I think that's what they would probably say. All right, let's take a look at the next one, which is document 3, Adam Smith, that crazy Enlightenment thinker. All right, what did Adam Smith say? Well, it's from a book, excerpts from The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, 1776. Good year, quality year. The sole purpose of all production is to provide the best possible goods to the consumer at the lowest possible price. Amen, Adam. Society should assist producers of goods and services only to the extent that assisting them benefits the consumer. He, the consumer, intends his own gain, and he is in this, as in many other cases, led by an invisible hand to promote an end which was no part of his intention. By pursuing his own interests, he frequently promotes that of society. According to this liberal and generous system, therefore, the most advantageous method in which a landed nation can raise up craftsmen, manufacturers and merchants of its own is to grant the most perfect freedom of trade to artificers, manufacturers, and merchants of all nations. I'm going to pause it and I'm going to write some stuff and I'll come right back. Okay, I'm back. That took me a minute. I typed some stuff up here. All right, so Adam Smith. What did I say? I said for my. I don't know why I'm scrolling. I'll show you how to do the table in a minute. But here's what I said. I read this to you. Go back. Look, I click this. You click that, and it takes you back up to the table. Kind of cool, huh? All right. So I said that Adam Smith, evidence from it. I said first off, he's a supporter of capitalism. He's like the OG of capitalism, if he, as you would. The Wealth of Nations is a pretty important book for those of you that like economics, right? And now we have provide evidence from the text, images, and explanations to support your claim. Well, Adam says providing consumers with the lowest possible price is the focus, which is basically saying allocating the resources in an affordable manner, right? Um, he's advocating free trade, meaning that like if I'm good at making, I don't know, glasses, I should make glasses and I could sell them. And then the person who's really good at making like mice, for computers, they make mice, and then we can trade, and nations will do that. That's kind of how it worked out, right? So he's saying that. He also talks about this invisible hand. Really quickly, I'll demonstrate that for you. This invisible hand, okay? Now I've got this. Oh my gosh, this is cool. I got this really cool stapler. Bet you some of you have never seen a stapler like this, right? Really cool stapler. But here's the deal. There's like only one of them in the world. This is it. There's the only stapler like this in the whole world. You think I can get a lot of money for it? Probably so, right? Supply and demand, right? If I've got like 20 million of these suckers, right? I'm not going to get as much money for them. That's the invisible hand that moves everything. If you're not willing to pay $5 for the hamburger, then they'll stop selling the hamburger at $5. Okay? So that's kind of like the invisible hand there. So what would the opposite people say, right? How would someone who opposes it say? Well, they probably would say not all people do what is good for society, like what Mr. Adam Smith is saying, right? He's saying some people might take their self-interest to a whole new level, right? Like how many yachts do you need, Mr. Bezos? How many, what, right? How much more do we need to pay our investors, right? Okay, so that would be probably the argument against that, right? All right, let's take a document for Trump 2020 political campaign. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see what it says. All right, it says Democrats will kill Iowa jobs. Big government socialism. Ooh, socialism will wreck the economy. Des Moines, here's what Democrats propose: eliminate oil and gas and coal industries, killing 10 million jobs nationally. Import energy from abroad rather than helping American workers. Raising taxes on the middle class and government takeover of healthcare, eliminating something. All right. President's fighting for 7 million jobs, protecting Iowa farmers from China's unfair trade retaliation, bigger paychecks for 90% of American workers. Is that like a Walmart thing where you get 1 penny more and we call it a bigger check? I'm always kind of questioning those kind of statistics. But let's go back to the top and let's see what this and I would say to you, this is not about Trump. This is about his this article, right? So it's like it doesn't have to be political. So let's take a look back at the table. What's this artist or person that made this? What do they support? I'm going to say that they support capitalism, right? They're talking about job creation. They're talking about, they use the dreaded socialism word, right? They're talking about the government taking over and owning the means of production. So I would say they're very much for capitalism, right? Let me pause for a second. Okay, so I've typed some stuff out for the Trump one. I said, they're basically using socialism as a scare word. That's intentional. The bullet points are talking about government intervention, right? They're saying, what were they saying? Mr. Fleming, come on now, let's do this properly here. We go down here. what are they talking about? They're talking about raising taxes on the middle class. That's government intervention. They're talking about eliminating oil and gas and coal industries. That's government intervention. Government takeover of healthcare, right? That's government intervention. And basically, I mean, if we looked and thought about Smith, right, he's saying the government should stay out of it, right? Let people who do well with something, let those coal miners in America coal mine, right, and let them trade with some other places. Don't shut that down. That's what Smith would say. Now this, this person's supporting capitalism, and Smith basically was saying the opposite, and Smith's like the OG of capitalism. So I'm gonna say that these folks like they're supporting capitalism, right? Um, so um, I would say it goes with capitalism. What would the other side say? Well, I'm gonna go back to the thing, right? I'm gonna say like if we get rid of those jobs, those coal mining jobs, those oil jobs, and all of that, like won't we be creating new ones when we make new energy fields? Um, which would kind of stick with the Smith idea if you let people do new energy fields, right? Um, so that could be there, and then also maybe just for the actual thing itself, like where are the facts coming from, where's the proof, and what's where are you getting this information from? Okay, so document 5 from the depths political cartoon. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, we've got dancers, nice party, it's okay. Let's see, we've got some like cool stuff going on in the background, and then we have a hand coming up through the bottom of the floor that's punching its way through, and our title is From the Depths. Reminds me a lot of the pyramid, very bottom of the pyramid, right? It's almost like that pyramid, but just without the top layers. It really focuses on the division between like, the haves and the have-nots down here. Okay, so let's go back up and take a look. Look at the table. We can get back up to the table if we do this. Boop, 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 boop. And okay, so from political depths of political cartoon, I do not think they like capitalism. Okay, I think that they like socialism. Okay, and let's see what they say or what the picture again. Let's see it again. So they're breaking up from the bottom. Let's see. I'm gonna pause it and do some typing, and then we'll come back. Okay. So what I wrote for 5 from the depths for the must do provide evidence, right? Well, first off, from the depths, I do not believe that they are probably very pro capitalism. I think they're pro socialism, and again, it doesn't say that, but they're not pro capitalism. I think for me, it says the proletariat, right? The workers are going to break free from the exploitation, and it's going to interrupt the bourgeoisie's happy lives, right? It's eventually going to happen. That's what they're trying to say. Like, if you continue on this course, if this isn't good, man, this is not working out, okay, for a lot of people. And so this will eventually occur if we continue with this. I think that's what they're trying to say. And I think someone that would like from the other break free. Ooh, that's the crux of me. Sorry, everybody. This will eventually. Yeah. Okay, so I think someone who opposes this, right, would say no one's stopping the proletariat, the workers, from eating at the nice party. You too can go out and start your own factory if you want. No law says you can't. Nobody's stopping you. No gun to you. Nothing like that. You can do that too if you want to. Right. And also, again, kind of like going back to I can't even remember at this point which one it was, but again, like, why are you hating on the factory owners? If you didn't have this job, you wouldn't have any money. They're paying you. It's not like you're not getting anything for your time, right? Okay, so that might be what the opposite side says. Okay, and that's individuals. Let's fix that so it looks nice. Where they pay comes? No, come on now, Grammarly. Where the pay comes from. Okay. Document 6, American under socialism political cartoon. And let's take a look at this. Oh, goodness gracious. Look at this. Factory clothes. Poor guy standing there. This guy with his gun and his, like, government position, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Under state control is what the little sign says. 1950 comic book. Okay. Fearful of socialism. All right. Fearful of that in 1950 because World War II had ended and we're scared of the Soviets, right? We don't want everything to become like that. That's our big fear, Okay, so let's take a look here. What evidence do we have? Okay, I have to pause it and I'll be back. All right, so I wrote down for under America under socialism political cartoon. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to show what it would be like if socialism was ever permitted in America, right? It's trying to show you that the two workers, poor fellows, they've lost their job. They're just outside waiting to come in to work, and it's like, man, the state closed down the factory because the state took it over. Oh my goodness, right? Scary, scary, scary stuff. So, what would the opposite side say? What would someone say? Well, guess what? If the factory produced goods that we needed as a society, the factory is going to continue to work, right? It's not like closed, it's just owned now by the state. Guess what the state's going to need? It's going to need some workers in the factory to produce the stuff. So those two dudes that are standing out there, they'll probably still have their jobs, right? It's just going to be a different system, different structure. You're not going to have like Jeff Bezos owning the company, right? You're going to have the government owning the company. And if you really wanted to get technical, like those two dudes standing outside the fence, well, they are part of the government, at least in a place like America, right? Like where the people power the people, you vote, you are the government in a sense, right? So I think that's what that one is. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we got all the way through that. I don't even know how long this video is. But it says, to what extent do you agree with the following statement? Society would be fairer if bourgeoisie, the middle class, upper class, and private property would be abolished. Oh, okay. Let me think about that. And I'm going to tell you. Okay, let me pause. All right, everybody, I'm back. I'm getting tired. You can tell my voice. My voice hurts. It's been going for a long time now. But it says, to what extent do you agree with the following statement? The society would be fair if the bourgeoisie, the middle class, was gone. I don't think it needs to be abolished. I don't think that's cool. I get a little nervous when we start talking about getting rid of people or anything like that. But I do think it needs to have checks put against it, right? Like again, it goes back to that question: how many yachts do you need? Really? If you have but that'd be government intervention, right? And so Smith would say, if you're truly capitalism, you don't want that. We're not a truly capitalist society anymore. We're not. We have checks and balances, right? We have like different intervention, government intervention, right, and restrictions that the government does. And we have things like what am I trying to think of? We have some like, hold on, let me think here. Yeah, I was having a hard time thinking there for a second. I'm sorry. Like minimum wage, right? Like that's a government intervention. I mean, people that are working, like the people are busting through the floor and at the bottom of that pyramid, they're like, "Yeah, give me a minimum wage, man. I work 17 hours and I ain't making any money." And so they would want that, right? But a pure capitalist would say, "Don't do that," right? Like just like if they want to change jobs and they don't like what they're doing, they should try to better themselves and try to get out of that position, right? Like it's easy to say, of course, but that is probably what a capitalist would say. Um, so I don't know. I don't think it has to be. I don't think it has to be done away with. Like I certainly am not like someone that's going to go out and start a business next week and like help it. Like Amazon helps people, man. I mean, it really does. Like I love ordering stuff from Amazon, right? But at the same time, it is a little disgusting to see like someone owning so many yachts, right? Like I don't know, just like give them a trophy, you win, woo, right? So that's kind of like the balance between the two. Um, so I think that I have done all of these. Oh, I did not do the aspire to do. But man, I've talked a lot. So I think my aspiring to do, like if I were to put one on here, I would make a comment that I don't know, that like it's really interesting that the whole system is really reliant upon all these individuals, but yet they're the ones that have the least power, right? That seems really awkward to me. Seems odd. I don't know, maybe with this one, um, I would say like kind of what I'd set up in the top. I mean, I don't know. He's basically saying like this is even a worse system. Like we've made this system worse. Before, at least you knew the person like that you were like that was teaching you how to make the baskets or how to make the whatever it was, and now you don't. You just go to some building, big square building, and they stick you in front of a machine, and you just do whatever the same thing like for 8 hours. Okay. Um, and Smith, what would I say about him? I would probably say that I agree with quite a bit of what he's saying. And in his time period, this was new, and there had not been these huge exploitations yet, right? So it's fresh. And when I was reading this, I actually even thought about this. Society should assist producers of goods. So, well, if society also is the government, well, what if the government's assisting producers of goods too, i.e., like socialism? I don't know. All right, so that might be there. And anything to say? That's too much like the pyramid. And then this one, I don't know. I probably would like my private comment would be like, again, it's just scare tactics, right? It's like showing you this almost like dystopian like landscape, right? And that's not necessarily how it would go down at all, right? But there again, everybody does it, both sides always trying to use, scare tactics, propaganda, as you would, to get their point across. All right, so finish this up, get it done, be really nice to your teacher today. All right, okay, I'll see you all later.